Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen to show you the timeline, the time frame of the session, and present Bernie, which is the one that we will be with him all the session. It's the best coach of IIT Career Services. So thank you, Bernie, for here with us, and thank you all for attending this session. So yeah, just let's start.
Yeah, thank you so much, Juan. Too kind with your words. I see some familiar faces who've attended the Illinois Tech sessions, but we definitely want to prepare you for the UPM Career Fair. And some of you guys know that my sessions are mostly interactive. So the more you participate, the more I can answer your questions. Part of what Juan and I are doing are giving you some resources so that even after we're done with this 1 hour, you have other material to follow up on the learning that you have for today. So Juan, please tell me what to do for the next part.
Okay, so the sessions, this is like the timeline of the session, the pre-reading that we send the Monday. Then there is an introduction sections to introduce some links and resources. Then we will present some design principles for the resume and an example to show this in real life. And then with the main part would be this hands-on and improving our resume in life. Some of you have sent me your resume to use them to this part. But if you want to send me your resume just now by WhatsApp or email, we can add to the queue. And then, well, last part with questions and answers. But Bernie told me that you can ask them and interrupt the session when you want. Open your mic and just start talking. And that's it. So let's start with the introduction.
Yes, thank you so much, Juan. Just to test out how many people actually went through the pre-reading, and I'm actually testing the audience, how interactive you are, because the success of what we have today is based on your participation. So if you read the pre-reading, please type in 2 in the chat. Nobody typing? Nobody's read the pre-reading? Okay, Ignacio, that's very good, man. I think you were in my resume efficiency session as well. So only Ignacio had done it. So I guess one, that points to us that we need to spend more time in giving them some of those resources. So did you want me to share my screen or you share, Juan? I guess I'm doing it. So Juan, I need
Okay. Don't you see my
sharing.
screen?
Yeah, I
No.
need sharing privileges, I guess, because I want to go directly into the screen.
But don't you see my screen?
Yes, it's actually good, but I want to do it live so people know how to get around the actual screen. So
Okay. So
is it,
yeah,
can you
yeah,
do that?
you can share now.
Oh, thank you. You cannot start while this other, oh, I guess you have to unshare.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Uh, mm, so I don't know who to stop
Oh,
share.
you just stop share. It's probably in front of you. It disappears when you're host. So you may have to play with your mouse. There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. So I want folks to follow up with me. Like I said, we may not have time to answer all of the questions. That's why I like to make it interactive and give you the resources at the same time. So if you're not part of it yet, I think some people were telling Juan that it was a private group. Please join the private group so that you have access to the resources that I'm talking about. So I'm going to start this from scratch. Under the search button, you type in Illinois Tech Career Services, like you're seeing. If you guys want to follow yourselves, please do so. What normally shows up after you type in Illinois Tech Career Services is the people entry, but you want the groups entry. So most of you who are reaching out to Juan saying it was a private group, you will see this button that says join. Please join that and I will accept it. But once that is taken care of, you will now have access to all this material that you're seeing. And this is the the sheet that Juan put together. The important piece of what you are seeing is content that is practically daily, even more than daily now because of the career fair at Illinois Tech and now the UPM career fair that is also upcoming. So all you have to do is just really scroll down like you're seeing me do this on the screen, and then you will see this that shows index. You see, there's a link that says index. Just keep on scrolling until you see it. It's all over the place on purpose. So all you have to do is click this link. And since the topic for today is resume, you will notice that there are a bunch of topics in the group that come all the way from business relations for the UPM students. There's a section for international. I'd like to call your attention to this section. And then for the section that Juan so kindly put together for today is the resume section. So all you have to do is just click the link and it shows you this document that Juan, you shared this in the group, right?
Yes, I did. And well, I will share the document of the session, which has the links to the LinkedIn group, to the index, and also some resources.
Very good. So once you're in the group, thank you, Juan. You do a Control F or a Command F, and then since we're talking about resume today, you get into the resume section. And in this resume section, you will click this point that says Resume Design Principles. Juan, please let me know if I'm following your talk track with the arrangement. Were we going into the
Okay.
so I'm going to have you share really shortly, Juan. So the document that Juan is talking about is actually in this ninth bullet where it says Resume Design Principles. And for you following on your own computers, when you open up the document, the subsequent points that Juan will be bringing up are in this document. It's talking about number 1, number 2, and then number 4. That's what you have in your document 1, right? So that we have continuity, I guess I'm going to stop sharing and then you can share your document again. Are we good?
Yes, here we are. Okay.
So awesome. I covered the index, showed
Yeah.
you guys how to go through the index. And then actually, Juan has a separate piece that says the Illinois Tech Resume Guide. And I didn't quite show it to you, but Juan is now clicking on it. It's quite useful because it gives you the details as what to an American resume looks like with various points. So if you go back to hashtag resume in the previous document that I showed you, Juan actually clicked on the actual document. So, do you want to start with the, oh, actually, why don't I go to points number 1? If you saw the resume design principles, it's talking about you need to think like the hiring manager and their job description. So actually, I want to check in with the audience. How many people do we have on this call? We have about 35 people. I want to hear your opinions because if it's just me talking, I mean, I can talk all day, but that would be useless to you if we're not getting some interaction. So, folks, why is it very important to focus on the job description if you have one? Okay. I was just curious, Juan, do you have the LinkedIn group open by any chance?
I can open right now.
Yes, because I want to point something else out for you guys preparing for the UPM career. So scroll down, keep going past, keep going, right there. It says how to tailor a resume for a career fair. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Further down, right there. If you open it where it says more. So I want to point this out because you guys are preparing for the UPM career fair. In the absence of a specific job description, you want to focus on available resources for the job title that you want. So I guess click that link, please, where it says example.
The example one.
Yes.
Uh,
So in the absence of a job description, and usually this happens at the career fair because you have a bunch of companies attending and they do not necessarily have a job description. So what this thing in LinkedIn is talking about is you can have documents like one is showing you on the screen. You need to research about the companies and some of the skills for the specific job that you are applying for. So
Okay. So we can go back and start with the design principles and showing them on this example.
yes.
Okay.
So I gave you a segue because most of the discussion talks about focusing on a job description. But again, I wanted to make it more real for you. Sometimes when you go to a career fair, there is not an abundance of job descriptions. So you need to go to documents like I was talking about to at least have some target. The normal target is the job description, but in the absence of it, you need to create some sort of target. So um, one says that, okay, I'm going to go through this.
Okay.
Uh, the
Yeah.
thing that you need to, oh,
Yeah.
you wanted to share? Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
This is even much, much better.
Go through the design principles with an example, which I've chosen my CV, but my resume, but
So FYI to the team that's on this call, Juan and I have gone through his resume quite a bit, and we decided that it would be a good example to show what we were talking about. So when we say think like a hiring manager, and hiring managers have very little time, so you need to structure your resume to give the reader easy, fast access to the relevant information. So one, from your experience, can you tell me what you've changed from your original version that is alluding to what I just shared, that you were thinking like the hiring manager and the job description? Please give us some insight with the resume.
yeah, well, this regarding the order, I changed my order and put my skills and honors at the last part of the resume, and on the first part I put the experience, including like all the experience that I have, because I think that that's more important than the skills. I have seen that some of you put the skills below education. I have decided to put below experience. Then I just use one page since I don't have 5 years of full-time job experience. And regarding Character Ninja, which is like a concept, like a Bernie concept, that's it's about removing the words that they are not significant or they don't add any meaning to the sentences, so that the people who review the resume can review it more quickly and don't stops on like useless words. Then of course tailor the resume to the job description if you have one, and if not, you can use you can build your master resume, which is what Bernie told you on the first part, and just use this master to change it and to add or remove bullet points depending on the job description that you are applying to.
Mhm.
Yeah, and of course I think this is the
Actually, let me reinforce what you just said, Juan. Let's stop it at that. So go back up to the top, please. I am going through some of the information that Juan has here. I think Juan got this from the template. We should really correct the template that we have in Illinois Tech. for the purposes of the applicant tracking system or ATS, you really want to put a zip code because sometimes that's one of the information that they're looking for. So one, you may want to add your 60616. I also noticed that he put his local US number. One of the problems for international students is they put the +1 because obviously if you're in Spain, you put +1 for the US. +1 screams international in the US because locals do not use it. So Juan beautifully did that. He just acted like a local and he just put the direct area code. And then you have his email and his LinkedIn. So another thing, Juan, was this resume designed for an internship or was it for a full-time job?
Uh, it is like my master resume of one page.
Okay.
It's for
Okay.
all.
So to the point that we were saying, to the point of the hiring managers being very busy, if you were applying for an internship, education is great to be the first thing that they see. Okay. However, if you were applying for a full-time job, you really want to start with the experience on top because again, your audience is very busy and the whole idea is you want to give them what they're looking for sooner versus later. Okay. So one, I forgot the arrangement of relevance. And um, in order that your resume becomes much relevant to the job description or the company that you're applying to, I'm going to ask Juan this question. So Juan, give me the job title that this resume was designed for, please.
I mean, this is like there is no job description for that
Job title, job title.
title. It's like a master resume, but yes,
Okay, so what would you be applying for? Give me a title,
uh,
job title.
data engineer.
Okay, so data engineer. So for a data engineer job description that you've been looking at, Juan, which part of your experience is very relevant to them? So I noticed that you have experiences. You have one, two, three, four, five experiences. Was there any projects here, Juan? Or
Uh,
was that it?
no, well, projects
Okay,
are mixed with the
yes.
experience. So
All
I
right.
don't know, maybe the first and the last one are good experience for data
So
and
the first one, as in operares,
yes,
and then the last one being, oh, operares also, the same company, but you kind of
like
separated it.
a
Okay. So I want to bring to your attention the issue that Juan has for the job that he's tailoring it to. So Juan's expectation at this point is they will read the first part and they will know that the second, the third, and the fourth apply to what they're looking for. According to Juan, the biggest impact should really be the first and the last one. So we introduced the concept of summary for other resumes. And I think it would kind of like make sense for Juan in this particular case because of the way that he answered this question. So I'm not sure if I'm making that clear. I want to open up to the rest of the folks. I really don't like sessions where I'm the only one talking because I could talk all day and kind of miss the point. So any questions about the concept that we just brought up? Nobody?
open the mic.
I'm going to ask Ignacio because Ignacio has actually joined some of my sessions before, and he knows exactly what I'm trying to bring to your attention. And I want to give you much, much more value than just talking at you. Ignacio, was there anything to add?
Um, no, but
No?
what, yeah, shouldn't for example, the experience of assistant director be a bit more up since, I mean, from what I can see, it's the most similar that would be to data engineer.
Yes.
Yeah, could be.
So Ignacio, thank you for that point. So this is what I mean about whenever we give resume advice, it's not one size fits all. Okay. So the resume that Juan just presented is arranged in a certain way, but when we're starting to get specific into his target, in this case, Ignacio just observed that the first one is good, and then he's noticing that the third one could be good. So I guess in this case, people might benefit from the idea of a summary that would take all those points. Actually, can I share for a second, Juan? Let me go back to the group.
Yeah, you can.
It wants you to stop it because I guess I don't have host capabilities. So thank you. So the point that we just made is about, I'm going to go into
Yeah, Bernie, someone asked if the most important experience should be at the start and end, but I think the answer is just at the start. I mean, most important experience should be at the start because the hiring manager has very small time. So
Yeah, that was a very good question, actually, and I will reinforce the answer to that with what I'm about to share. So if you guys notice, Juan's resume did not necessarily, he arranged it beautifully from the expectation for a resume. He arranged his experiences chronologically, right, Juan? The problem with arranging it chronologically and the way a resume is designed is from the relevance standpoint for your target job description, it may not necessarily be what you want them to see first. So let me give you an example that we're looking at. I'm going to open up case study 5. So when we open up this resume, actually, I'm going to go off camera because I think the network is really getting killed. It's really, really slow. So if you notice, this is the old resume, and just like the questions that were diving into it, this particular student had information all over the place, okay? This one specifically was a freshman, but let me give you an example of somebody who's probably like a graduate student. She was an undergrad, actually. So to the question as to what should you let the reader see first? So in this particular case, the original information, just like Juan had it, this student just listed their experiences chronologically, their projects chronologically. However, when I ask this student the same question that I asked Juan, according to the job title and the job description that you're targeting, what is the most important piece of information that they should see? And Ignacio kind of like noticed that with the discussion with Juan's resume earlier. He was like, okay, it's in the middle. The problem when you don't arrange your resume, and after I gave that information to Marilyn, we decided that the best way to curate and arrange the information according to relevance is now in the better version. So after I asked Marilyn the same question that I asked Juan, and to the question that you guys are saying, because different students, different experiences, you have different arrangements in your resume according to chronology, but I am suggesting that you could benefit, that even Juan could think about this, that if you were targeting a specific job title, so after I asked the resume on the screen, which one were most relevant, what she did, and Juan, you could decide that you do this. A summary could kind of capture your high points without worrying about the chronological order. So let me backtrack for a second. Resumes are normally arranged from the newest to the oldest, okay? And like I said, that doesn't necessarily translate to relevance. So now one of the strategies to help you with that, and the answer to that question that was also put forward was just like Juan. Juan said, it's this one and then this one, and then Ignacio saying maybe the middle one, but the final the deciding factor would be really Juan, because he's the one who's reading the job description and he's the one who knows what his experiences are. So what you see on the screen is Marilyn taking the top bullets from the most relevant experiences, and you essentially curate the information, and that is what you present. So that, guess what happens for this one? The student and your resume becomes much, much more relevant immediately at the top of your resume. So that's one suggestion. Did I answer that question to that student who was asking whether it was good? Please go off of mic. I mean, it's kind of cumbersome to just putting it in chat. Just feel free to speak, even if you don't go on camera. No? Juan, I guess kind of take it away back to your lead
Okay.
sheet. And
Okay.
then let's see. We
Yeah.
have a half an hour. Maybe we might go into actual resumes.
Okay. So yeah, yes, I maybe we forget this point, which I think is very
Actually,
important.
point back to your resume, please, Juan. Talk about the accomplishment oriented.
Which I think is, well, actually my resume is not chronological order, since you see here, because I thought that this was most important than this in general. But yeah, so but regarding the accomplishment oriented, that's, I mean, it's the most important, the point that helps me more to change my resume, which is describe achievements and not the duties or tasks that I have done on the experience. So don't say, which was the example that you put on previous sessions. Don't say cleaning the dining room, but put
Oh, yeah. Okay,
cleaning five
let me give that example for this. And thank you for remembering that. What Juan was talking about is usually for bullets. Juan's bullets, he and I scrubbed this already, so it's quite good. So the usual issue with resumes is people just describe the task. So what Juan was saying was my example of saying, let's just say I'm a floor sweeper, and then people in the resume just say I swept the floor. I swept the floor. And then to give some indication of impact, they just say, I swept the floor fast. But if you think about it, what is that really communicating to the reader? Nothing really. And sometimes you even give extra information. You say, I swept the floor fast with a broom that had a long handle, and then I started sweeping in the right side of the room. You're giving them information that they're not looking for. And Juan actually shifted this. Instead of saying I swept the floor fast, what Juan did was he created a bullet saying, I led a team of 5 floor sweepers introduce a process improvement that reduced sweeping time from 60 minutes to 5 minutes. So contrast that to I swept the floor fast versus this other person who's giving results and accomplishments. So if you take a look at Juan's bullets, he beautifully transformed it from I swept the floor fast. So go ahead, Juan, continue from there. Juan, you're muted.
Sorry. For example, I use this reduce administrative work by 70%. Another point is to use quantitative, try to quantify the outcomes that you have done with your achievements, because it's a way of showing real impact of your tasks. And as I tried always to start the sentence saying what did I achieve, minimize management work by 50%, and then how did I do developing a spreadsheet, blah blah blah, and finally I add something if I want. But I start with the most important part, which is the quantitative part, and then how I did. And that's what I've learned from Bernie.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good, but you and I need to fix that part one where you actually change the chronological order because we said resume should really be from the newest to the least. So I see that you and I have some conversations to fix that for you. So just to bring back the top points again that we've discussed so far. Number one, you need to think like the hiring manager and their job description because that's your target. The next thing that you need to do is to introspect into your results, just like the results that Juan is showing on the screen. You map that onto the job description, and then the way for you to shine is really to talk about your accomplishments versus mere task descriptions. And then design principle number two was saying that because your reader, it doesn't have a lot of time, they're very busy, your whole resume should be arranged from the top priority that they need to see to the least priority, and that should occur all over the resume. And back to Antonio's question, where he was saying, I think he got the impression that your resume should just be the first and the last. That should be more important. No, I gave you the example earlier that if your results relative to the job description are all over the place, you may benefit from a summary that actually takes the information and you decide what you want them to see first. You arrange it beautifully in a summary. So the effect is you're giving it to them at the top of the resume and say, hey, this is what you said you were looking for. These are things that I have done relative to what you're looking for. And then the result for a resume is for you to get called in for an interview.
Okay, sure. So may we move to the next part which is the hands-on?
Yeah.
I'm picking some resumes that they have sent to me.
So if this person is on the call, I would actually, is Maria, can you go off of mute, please?
Yeah, sure.
Beautiful. So Maria, can you please do a self-assessment based on the information that we just shared? And then I'm giving you time to think. But number one, think like the hiring manager and their job description. Number two, talk about results. Number three, your reader is very busy. That's why the whole resume should be arranged from the most relevant to the least relevant. So have at it, Maria. Please take it away. What are you applying based on what we've discussed so far?
I gotta think about it, really.
Okay.
Because what I want to do, what I want to apply to is kind of like Juan. I want to do data science.
Okay.
And I've tried to add like relevant courses that I think may fit like what a hiring manager is looking for.
Okay, let's unpack that for a second, Maria, and thank you for volunteering, by the way. So I'm assuming you're applying for a full-time
Yeah.
or for a full-time job, do not start with the education. Okay, because think about it. If I were a hiring manager, am I really interested in your education or do I want your experiences? For a full-time job,
Yeah, my
probably
experience.
more experiences, right? So let's jump into it. I see that you have two. You have your professional experience with Telefonica, and then you have two project experiences. So you have a total of 3 experiences, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So Maria, what I want you to do is think of one job description that you've seen lately. Are you
For
cool?
data analyst?
Yeah, just have it in your mind.
Okay.
Okay. So thinking of that job description, you have 3 experiences. Which of these 3 experiences should be top that they should know about first?
Oh, definitely the one that has to do with data science. So
Which
the second
is
one.
the second one?
Oh no,
Which,
sorry, the third one. The learning analytics.
UC3M. Okay. So UC3M is top priority. I'm going to call it segment 1 for the purposes of our discussion. Top priority, I'll call it segment 1 for Maria is UC3M. What's your segment 2, Maria?
Maybe my internship.
So that would be Telefonica?
No. Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
cool. And then I'm assuming that food match would be your third priority.
Yeah.
All right. So in Maria's case, without modifying the resume, she is expecting the very busy hiring manager to go through the entire resume and conclude that the hiring manager would be like, oh, not valid, not valid. Oh, this one is very valid. You're expecting the reader to essentially go through the entire resume, okay, with the way that you currently have it, okay? But here's the problem. Because of the flood of resumes that people get. So let me create a scenario for you guys. It's 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. I'm the hiring manager. And even if my job was to look at resumes, okay, I'm also a human being, right? It's 4:30 in the afternoon. I want to leave. So I just went through 1,000 resumes. And then guess who resume 1001 is? It's Maria's. Okay, so according to Maria, her most relevant experience was really the UC3M, which is kind of at the bottom of the resume. So what if my eyes obviously start with Telefonica? I see Telefonica, not related. I'm tired. I'm going home. Guess where Maria's resume goes? The garbage can. What did you get out of that, Maria?
That I should definitely change it.
So Maria, you would actually benefit from the same suggestion that I gave Juan and the same thing that you saw in that example that I showed in the index. Remember Marilyn's resume?
Mm-hmm.
So the way Marilyn's resume came about is I asked her the same question the way I asked you. So Marilyn also did this one, this one, this one. She was all over the place. So when she created her summary, she grabbed the top points for Maria this time. She's going to grab UC3M as the first bullet. She's going to grab Telefonica as the second bullet. She's going to grab Food Match as the third. But now it's in order of how you want them to see it. So you see how beautiful the summary would work for Maria. You actually curate the information, put it on a golden platter, give it to them at the top of the resume and say, hey, this is what you wanted. These are my results. Call me in for an interview.
Okay.
Questions, Maria?
Oh yeah, because what if like my project experience is I thought it wasn't as relevant as like having work experience.
Which project experience is not
So
as
like
relevant?
both of them, they're not like paid internships or anything. And
Okay.
I thought that maybe putting my internship first would be most interesting for hiring managers.
Yes.
And what I'm getting is that it shouldn't like it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't matter whether it's project or it's paid. I heard you
Okay.
say a few things, okay? From what I heard you say, it sounded like because it wasn't paid, it was not important, is what I heard you say.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, that's not true. All right. Your experience is your experience. They don't care whether it was paid. They don't care whether it was a full-time job, whether it was an internship. If it's directly related to the job you're applying for, that is what they need to see first.
They don't even
Okay.
know if it was paid or not. So
Exactly. Exactly. But from the relevant standpoint, Maria, whether it was paid, whether it was a project, it's the most relevant to what you're applying for. So in your case, what I also heard you say was your project experience was really more relevant than Telefonica. So from the arrangement of sooner versus later, Maria could benefit from putting the project experience above, the professional experience below. Or here's another suggestion, Maria, and I don't know how it works out chronologically for you. You could just call it experience, and then you put all three chronologically, and then you still use the summary if you want to.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea for me.
More questions?
No, not
Otherwise,
really.
I want to dive into your bullets.
Okay, sure.
we can go
All
through
right.
the accomplishment-oriented points
Yes.
by bullet.
So how do you guys think with Maria from being character ninja? Be pretty good? I think for the most part, you have quite a bit of white space. It's not like some of the resumes that we see. So I think you're doing good. What do you think, Maria?
I hope so. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So let's talk about your most relevant. So UC3M is your most relevant, right?
Yeah.
So here's the next question, Maria. I noticed that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets. Is it arranged from the top priority to the least?
No, not really.
Okay. So you see how we talked about design principle number 2 earlier? They're very busy. Everything should be arranged from top priority that you want them to see to the least.
Okay.
Okay. And thank you. Juan's kind of like highlighting it on the other sheet. So
Not
thank you,
only the
Juan.
experience, but also you have to sort even the bullet points itself.
Yes, that's what she's saying. She didn't sort it. So Maria, which one is your top bullet for UC3M? You have four. You have
Yeah, I
four.
think the third one.
Sorry?
I think the third one.
The third one. So you said develop predictive models to forecast high-level performance indicators and analyze the impact of resource utilization on student outcomes. So here's the question for you, Maria, relative to design principle number 1. Think like the hiring manager and talk about results versus task descriptions. So Maria, is your third bullet a result or is it a task description?
As a description, definitely.
So it's not very, very powerful. So you see the point that we're trying to make, and I appreciate the opportunity that you're giving us, Maria, for them to see what we're talking about in their own personal resume. So this kind of goes back to my example earlier of swept the floor fast. So did you guys hear what's going on? Maria said that it's her most important bullet according to how she knows what she did. However, the way she wrote it is she said, I swept the floor fast. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you a flavor as to how to unpack what you accomplished. So if you listen under hashtag resume, we have about 10 workshops, and most of those workshops revolve around the exercise that I'm about to do with Maria. Okay, so this time I'm going to say, Maria, think about the job description that you're using this for, and then actually just dump on me what you did for this project. And then Bernie and Juan and the rest of the audience are going to be listening from what did she accomplish. Okay, don't worry about that part, Maria. I just want you to give us information as to what you did for UC3M, and then I'll interrupt you occasionally to probe and bring out results. Is that clear?
Yeah, sure.
All right, please go.
So I got a database and I had to clean it and
A database was assigned to you by a manager?
Yeah.
Okay, so how big was the database?
Pretty big. I don't remember.
Pretty big. Okay, so Maria, she knows that it's pretty big, but she's not calling it out. Okay, you need to do some more research, right? So what would be a good sized database that you would say is impressive, whether it applies to you or not?
How many rows?
Yes.
Oh God, I don't remember.
So what, 10,000 rows? Is that impressive? I'm just making this up, but to say that you had a database with 10,000 rows versus a database with 500 rows. Are you catching this, Maria?
Yeah,
you just called it database, right? So we already have one data point that you can give them context with. Keep going, please.
Yeah, so I had to clean it. I had to optimize it.
What does clean it mean?
So clean it means like get rid of the bad data, the outliers, make a data dictionary.
How much time did you spend?
Like a month.
Okay. Was there a target date as to completion?
Yeah, a month.
It was a month. So you did on-time delivery for however big this database is. And it sounds like you cleaned it, but I think cleaned has all sorts of different areas, right? Okay. What more?
For example, which was the accuracy of the forecast model, for example, or predictive model, which is like a result that you can quantify?
Okay, I can look into that because I don't remember
Yes.
off the top of my head.
Yes, but are you noticing?
For example, I don't know, R square of 83% or something like that. You can put that like at the beginning of the sentence, maybe. I don't know, Bernie.
Yeah. No. I like that we got your wheels turning, Maria, because we're uncovering some pieces of information that you didn't think were important, right? But your task when you apply for the job is to give a stranger, number one, they have no idea what kind of work that you do. And if you just describe tasks saying, I swept the floor, I cleaned this, I did that, but we got giving them context of the magnitude and the impact of what you did. Did you listen to my questions? Did you have a time frame? Did you deliver it on time? How big was the database? What else did you do? And then Juan's kind of like bringing up, for your original model, were you shooting for, 90% accuracy? What was it to begin with? What did you get to?
Mhm.
Are you catching all of these things that you need to do?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I just showed you one way to do this. Okay, one way to do this is to have people listening to you. The second way to do this, Maria, is think of UC3M, write everything down on a piece of paper, and then I want you to review it and say, okay, what did I accomplish? Make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, definitely.
And then I can show you in the, we have 10 more minutes. I guess if you go to the index under #resume, you have all these resources where I show students to use artificial intelligence to help you unpack what I just tried to unpack with Maria. So for example, you could say, GPT, this is the list of the accomplishments or the way that you word it currently, Maria, okay? You could cut and paste all of those, plug it into GPT and say, GPT, these are resume bullets. I want you to ask me 2 questions at least per bullet so that
Mhm.
you can rewrite these bullets to be more impactful, more results focused, and concise. So thank you for bringing that up, Juan. It's actually impact using ChatGPT 2. They can check this out later, but you're in the right spot. Okay, impact using ChatGPT. And then that part where it says optimize bullet 3 with AI ChatGPT. Maria can actually go to some of these resources now. I think you got it, Maria. I gave you 3 experiences. 1, I was
Mhm.
listening to what you were coming from. Number 2, I gave you the suggestion of just writing it down. And number 3, I said, go to the resources. We show you how to use GPT to help you with all of this iteration work that you need to do with your resume. Questions, Maria?
No, not really.
Let's go back to your resume, actually, and I'll have you ask last questions. And I think in the interest of time, Juan, I guess, are we wrapping this up or I'll let you decide what to do? General questions about what you have on the screen. Otherwise, I'm going to make some comments.
Yeah, should I keep the community outreach and volunteering stuff?
Very, very good question. So thanks for asking that, Maria. Whenever you have a resume, they don't just want to hire a robot. So when you have things like leadership and community outreach, it's giving them a more holistic view of Maria. So it's good to have. Okay. Um, just like you had it, though, I would probably put skills and interests higher than leadership and outreach. Back to the
Mhm.
point of design principle number 2, sooner versus later, because the skills is probably more important than the leadership, unless their job description specifically had leader all over the place.
Mhm. Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your decision? Are you going to use a summary?
Okay, so I have another question. Because
Yes.
we have to keep it to like 1 page.
I'm glad you asked that question. It's not about the number of pages. Okay. Juan started this and saying 1 page is good. The reason it's good is because whatever they're looking for, and because they're very busy, you give it to them immediately. If, for example, you had all the experience that was relevant, it's not really a matter of 1 page or 2 pages, because by all means, give them all the information that they're looking for that's relevant. However, you still have to contend with the fact that they are busy.
Mhm.
So did I answer your question? I didn't quite say yes or no, because I don't know what you have on the table and I don't know what the job description said.
Yeah, no, my question was more in the lines of if I have to fit the summary and sacrifice something from my resume, what do you think should go first?
I don't know how you'll clean up the bullets. And again, I don't know how the job description. So I appreciate the question, but if you notice, I'm not saying yes or no because I don't have
Yeah.
the big picture.
Okay.
But did that make sense?
Yeah,
At the
yeah.
end of the day, you make that decision according to what the job description said and what your strengths are relative to that. And that pretty much decides what you keep and what you put in the resume.
Okay.
So reach out to me, Maria. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and then we can talk
Okay.
about this some more.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay, we can switch maybe to another resume
Do we have
and
time?
extend
6
more
minutes,
minutes.
man?
Yeah, we can extend more 10 more minutes if you
Okay.
can,
Sure.
because we start. Okay, so we can go through the next one, which is here.
Thank you, by the way, Maria. I hope the next person is also online because if you notice that, we
Yeah,
can address it. Teresa
Teresa is
Carbo.
online.
Teresa, I think you and I have spoken before. I think we've also met at the career fair. Teresa, are you on?
I think it's not online. So
Okay. So let's go to somebody who's online because I think they get more out of it.
yeah, I don't have more CVs because
You don't? All right. So
yeah,
how about we do this?
no one's sent to me.
Nobody sent? I'll just give
Well, I'm
general.
online, so if you can, I can
Okay.
share it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
sure. You can share.
Yes. Okay.
You can
Perfect.
share just now if you want.
Okay. Hmm.
thank you for volunteering, Maria.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Maria.
I read the article too. I
Okay.
didn't say it, but
So did you have
here.
some self-assessments already based on your reading?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So let's hear your comments. I'm going to say, don't forget the zip code 60616 at least. You don't have a +1. Very good. And then summary. The way that you wrote your summary, Maria, is the way that people use to write objectives and summaries. And actually, that's one of the reasons people say don't even bother, because you say results driven with a strong academic background. So let's see, strong academic background, you would be better off just saying 4.0 without saying strong academic background. You see how there's like a bunch of stuff that you're wasting in the summary. And then you said you're proficient in financial modeling. So here's the situation. You're giving this resume to a stranger. How do I know that you are proficient? So in the example that we gave for Marilyn earlier, if you notice, it's not the old style of writing objectives or summary. She was actually result after result after result. So in Maria's case, it could be 4.0. They can't question that. It's data, right? And then if you have a result in something that's in financial modeling, that you had a project on financial modeling, that you reduced cost and then you delivered it, 90% ahead of schedule. You see the point that I'm driving at, Maria?
Yeah.
Does it make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
So I guess you could rewrite your summary.
And another formatting point, maybe
I don't
it's
know.
using the Hawk ID mail instead of personal. What do you think about that, Bernie? Sorry for interrupting.
Yes, no problem. Actually, it's a good point, Juan. We used to say put in your school email ID, especially for international students. However, Illinois Tech, I don't know what they're doing, with the messing up with the emails. We may not have a choice because you need to put an email that works, right?
I
So
before had the IAT email, but now I have that one because of the change.
yes, so that's the point I was trying to make, Maria. It's not your fault. It's kind of the school with the systems. But then again, you want the employer to be able to reach you. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. So you put the email that works.
All
So
right.
thanks, Luis. I mean, Juan. I called Juan Luis.
Yeah. And I have a question about the space because I don't know if there is not enough blank
White.
space.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It seems packed. So can you scroll back up, please?
Yeah.
To the top, Illinois Tech, and then you have UPM twice, and once bachelor's, once master's. That's good. By the way, for dates for education, you just need the completion date. So get rid of the start date. You're just saying May 2025 and then June 2022. Okay.
All right.
That's going to help
Okay.
with the white space. And then since you're a 4.0, I would structure your GPA where it says 4.0/4.0.
All
Don't
right.
forget the 0.0. And then I would even bold the 4.0 because it's an accomplishment, right? It's a perfect GPA.
Mhm. Okay.
And then are you applying for full-time or internship?
No, for full time. I know that I
If
have
you're
to.
applying for full-time, you start with your professional experience. And then here's the thing with your education, okay? The reason you put your minor and then the courses and all that is usually because you don't have anything else to talk about. But it sounds like you do because of the professional experience. So something that could help, Maria, is to reduce what you have in education. Just put in
Okay.
masters, UPM masters, UPM bachelors, get rid of the what? I see you have like 8 bullets that you could get rid of.
All right. Okay.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then let's talk about professional experience. The same point of relevance that I was making with earlier. According to the job descriptions that you're looking at, which is your segment 1, also known as top priority, that you want them to read first.
Yeah,
You have
I'm looking
you have
for
4. Which one of the 4?
what? Sorry?
Which one of the 4 is top priority for them to
Yeah,
see?
this one, of course.
Okay, Deloitte is number 1. What's your segment 2?
I think this one because it
Okay, Illinois
shows
Tech. What's number 3?
this one.
NTT, and number 4 is Zinerco. So again, you would also benefit from the summary experience because you're all over the place.
Okay.
Does it make
Yeah.
sense? So now let's dive into your bullets of your top priority. So Deloitte, same question that I asked earlier. Are your 3 bullets arranged from the top priority to the least?
Okay.
Is that a yes
Yeah.
or a no?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's arranged from top priority. So let me read your top priority bullet. It says, conducted a comprehensive assessment of an energy company operations, identifying critical pain points and key needs, and developed targeted improvement initiatives resulted in 35% reduction in global costs. Did you notice how I purposely read the entire thing so that you would get it, that it's too much?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing, Maria, that you want to do, and for everybody else listening, your bullets should just highlight the results. And in this case, the result is you reduced global costs by 35% is the
Yeah.
accomplishment. So
Yeah.
I would start the bullet by saying reduce global costs by 35%. And then you want to give them just enough additional information so that they get the 35% reduction of costs. Anything
Okay.
else?
Right.
Anything else is extra. Save it for the interview. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
So whenever you write bullets, rule of thumb for bullets is just give them enough data so that they understand what the result was. Anything extra, save it for the interview. I suspect there's a bunch of extra in bullet number 1.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
So
bullet
the
2?
the point
Go
is
ahead.
not only order the experience and the bullet, but also the sentence itself must to be sorted and started with quantify results, and maybe you can add the extra thing like reducing 35% global cost by conducting a comprehensive assessment, blah, blah, blah. And if they
Yeah.
are interested on that, they can keep reading. And if not, they can switch to the next bullet point.
Yeah. Or you get rid of it altogether because, the accomplishment was really that you reduce costs. Okay. Some of the additional information, Maria, if they weren't asking for that specifically in the job description, I would save it for the interview. Because remember, they're very busy.
Yeah. Okay.
More
Okay.
questions?
So the next point was,
Well, I was going to ask her
on-
if she had questions about bullet
okay.
2 or 3, or if she knew what to do.
No, I understand what I have to do in all the
Okay.
bullet points. Yeah.
Okay, so once you have your best bullet points, that's what we did in previous resumes. You grab the top bullets according to your different segments. You put that in the summary, massage it a little bit so that it looks like a summary, and scroll back up, please, to your summary. Scroll back up.
Yeah, sorry.
It will look much, much better than your results-driven business analyst. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well, Maria. And for everybody else that's on this call, if you had specific information that wasn't quite clear, because obviously we have limited time, connect with me on LinkedIn so that we can work closer together. So Juan, what else do we need to
Okay,
cover?
so we can conclude now. Yeah, just sharing again my screen to show you how to follow up with this. There is here it is the LinkedIn group of career services, the index, the resume guide. I will put also the LinkedIn profile of Ernie if you want to follow him and connect with him. And also there is the new LinkedIn group of resume efficiency that Bernie has created.
Yeah, actually, when students ask me specific questions about their resumes, I share it in that resume efficiency group. So you could benefit actually from seeing, and I break it down, just like we didn't have enough time to break it down for this session, because I actually get those points and put them in the LinkedIn group. And it's an opportunity to have those discussions and clarify your understanding even better. So please join it. It's called Resume Efficiency, and then I will just accept it.
Okay. For Taylor, there is also another tool that maybe it's relevant for that, which is the VMOC the VMOC tool. I suppose that Bernie knows about that.
Yeah, VMOC was designed as a starting point for your resume. So usually once you get to discussing it with a coach like myself, you're kind of beyond VMOC. And I've also had cases where VMOC is obviously programmed to a certain thing. And sometimes I've had students where after they and I discuss the situation, their VMOC scores actually go slower. So I wouldn't put too much credence. If you kind of put it in for starters, it's a starting point, but we get into deeper conversations.
Yeah, just for help you to tailor the resume, maybe.
To start it.
Of course, it's like a start. Then it's your call. Okay, so we can conclude unless anyone has any question about the session. No one? Okay, so we can conclude.
Antonio has a question.
Okay, yeah. Do you think it is correct to put class projects in the project experience section?
Antonio, my gut instinct is it what they were looking for in the job description? If you're trying to use it because some word was in their job description, and if you didn't have any other experience or application of the course, yes, it's like the last resort to you trying to match their job description because you didn't have any practical experience. So ideally, Antonio, if you had practical experience, talk about it in the experience so that you don't have to put courses. Because think about it, they would rather have experience versus just the course. So I hope that answers it, Antonio.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So,
he likes it.
Yeah, we can conclude. So thank you so much, Bernie, for this session. And just be aware of the Spring Career Fair of the AIT, which is on the 21st of February, and also, of course, of the UPM, which is on the 7th of April. Just prepare your resume because we are going to ask you to upload your resume for the UPM Career Fair. So that is why we are doing this session. So thank you so much to everyone, and especially Bernie and Career Services. And yeah, we can stop here.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Thanks.
Bye, thank you.